Created my own little algorithms to do one thing or another, like disease states, a mortality algorithm, and
I think you will have a whole levels of robotics, the humanoid robots or non-humanoid robots, whatever the case is.
But the one that I really gravitated towards was Alteryx. Low code, no code, business intelligence stuff, data science, machine learning, things like that.
Audio, the text, and then there's big metaverse bug. Everybody knows the metaverse.
Another week of AI.
Oh, dude, this is the juice that we talk about. Ay.
Yes, sir. Ay. It's funny, as I was wearing that same shirt, I'm starting to feel like, okay, wait a minute, did we time this like right?
Yeah. You know, ay.
It's your Monday night shirt.
Your turn, Bobby.
He's like,
no.
He said, time out.
No.
He wants no part of it.
Yeah. Well, that's just like you go to a concert and the artist comes up to you and put the mic in your face. You're like, no.
Watermelon.
You're not ready, Lady Gaga.
No.
Hey, but you know what? It's afternoon coffee. We used to say early morning verbal coffee. Now it's late afternoon verbal coffee to kind of get you spun up, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Monday. I could use anything right now. Yeah.
Well, you know, this is the best way to get your week started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Monday preparedness that you've went through all day long. But throughout the week, if you're not putting AI on your book, this is your chance. Put that AI in your book for the week. Get it done, right? If you got to get started. If you got to do something with AI that you haven't done this week, put that on the book. Let's get it done, right? Because we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about machine learning, we talk about work, we talk about so many things. But one thing we have to do is keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
And that means learn and execute, right? Learn and do, right? So we're going to learn a lot today. And Masako has a great initiative. So thank you, Masako, for taking part in this. We have a mission in our hand. And I say that with, with some encouragement from you, because you have, I think you have pushed me a lot over the years. And so thank you for that. And thanks you for, making this happen, keeping us here. And thank you to all of you guys, actually. I know Lucky, we've been doing this podcast, and this podcast wouldn't be coming to 65th episode until Lucky was there.
Bravo, guys.
All right.
Bravo.
So very, very happy to be in this group. I know you guys know Bobby, but I'll tell Bobby is one of my oldest friend, brother, I would say. And after a while, you just become a brother. You don't hang out with somebody unless you love him that much. So, all right. Masako, we have to make some introduction. Of course, we're going to introduce Andrew Ang's video where he says hello to everybody for Pi and AI community. But let's get started with you. Let's talk about, your mission.
Let's talk about me. Hi, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, now and later. Y'all remember now and later?
So good.
I am Masako May. I am the founder of Mommy to Be in Me. We exist to be a supportive community for single parent households. We say that we are the parent portal because oftentimes people find themselves in a struggle mode due to finances. And therefore, they hold on to things such as other human beings looking for finances. But Mommy to Be in Me, we came together to eliminate those things that you think you need in order to outfit you with the things that you already have and walk with you for you to upskill with some data literacy and some AI. So you could take ownership of yourself in your household and work from home and provide a loving legacy for you and your children, man or woman. We focus on single parents. And people oftentimes are like, well, what makes you the subject matter expert? And I said, well, I have 25 years experience in family health and wellness across the globe. I I'm a military veteran, intel analyst. I have assisted in rebuilding commerce in war-torn countries, and I always say, I was like, if I can help countries rebuild their commerce, then surely I could help the communities within my country rebuild commerce. And what is the best way to do that with heads of households? I'm also an award-winning athlete. I am an actress. I'm an author. My most important job is I'm a mom, and I've taken the skills that have grown within me, nurtured them, and now I am the solution to people's problems. I'm on a podcast.
That is awesome.
Well, as you can hear, we have our fifth guest in the room, and
Yeah, the royal. I always say, if it wasn't for the royal,
No.
if it wasn't for the royal has been on Zooms and meetings since she was 2 weeks old.
Right.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. She's gonna win an award for that one day.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. She'll be in some magazine covers.
Her acceptance speech when she gets a Emmy will be,
Yeah.
I was born to do this.
I was born to do this. Indeed.
I've been doing this since I was born.
Right.
Yes, literally. She
I know
had her
what that
first
means.
job before she was one. She had her first job, and I say job, but it's all about being a solution, right? What solution do we bring into our communities?
Yeah.
And we bring solutions. So
She's a Zoomie for sure.
yeah.
Right.
And it's perfect how we're spending time discussing AI and what we do to better ourselves, make a living, and it all comes down to we all do it for the little guys down there, the kids. We're parents first. I say I'm a parent first, second, and third. I'm a father, and then it just we start to find ways of how do we support our families. But we come together at the end, and thank you for bringing us together with AI literacy, because at the end, there's a lot of things that we're trying to figure out right now with AI, and it's been moving like a freight train. And some people just are just watching it pass by, and they don't know, hey, I should catch a ride on this freight train or this train, so I know, how I can take advantage of it, maybe better myself. And there's not a lot of places you can go to learn that unless you're going to be, a data scientist.
Mhm.
And so otherwise you're just poking around. So it's good that you're there helping people, come together with AI, and that's what we're trying to do at the end. We're trying to promote or understand what it is, AI, and how to use it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yes, absolutely. And then of course we have Bobby. So Bobby, I want to say a whole lot about you, but I won't. So
Well, listen, after that last intro, I've just learned that I am an underachiever. That's what
We all are. We all are. Mother.
I cannot.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But I'm with ADAC Solutions, Advanced Data, Advanced Knowledge, and the focus for us is to help people understand their data in new ways, right? A lot of people are using artificial intelligence, asking it to do stuff, but they've gained no insight. So think of it as a data therapist, if you will, right? So what didn't you know about your business or your market segment, et cetera? And we also do some nonprofit work with nonprofits that do stuff like work in the communities to help former felons find employment. Before, used to do that little, you fill out the form for the developer profile to determine what you're good at. Now we use artificial intelligence to help them determine what kind of things, legitimate things a felon can do to develop a business, and what does that look like. Here's a step-by-step plan on how to make that happen. How to then support families, meaning you have to reintegrate. So that's through an organization called the Anchor Project out of Chicago. And it was started by a former gang member who just grew up and the light bulb went off, and he wasn't happy just helping himself. He began to help the community. So hundreds and hundreds of families getting the wraparound services that they need, and all of that space, there was opportunity for artificial intelligence to help them understand how to do that better. So I'm just glad to be here. I'm proud of the work I do on the on the technical side, on the corporate side, on the government business side. But I'm most proud of the work that I do with the community, because what's the point of coming from someplace and you look back and there's nothing there if you haven't invested? So that's me.
I love that. Can I interject real quick, because y'all are giving me the feels, and I feel like, like whenever, when things come through for us, when you said the gang member, right? And you guys said that you feel like you are underachievers. You're saying it jokingly. However, I want people to see me and see you guys and hear you guys and know that what you're explaining is a large language model, right? Gang member, community, large language model.
Yes.
My mom, a young widow, large language model, right? So individuals that experience things that is their collective, all of those are data points, right?
Yeah.
If that is the thing that they know, that's what they're from. What we're saying is, like, you can rewrite that. You can reprogram that, right? You have some new supervised learning modules happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Don't do it unsupervised. Only supervised. No.
No, I'm saying that they were supervised learning models for them to get that A to B, right? Because
Right.
if 9 times out of 9, you got a gang member raised in a gang household, then A to B leads to that C mindset.
Absolutely.
Right. And so for someone to say, like, you know what, I always, when I talk about, real life stuff, like, what I understand now is that being a single parent isn't rare. There are 11.5 million single parent households in the United States.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, babe. And so it's not a rare thing. So why are a majority of them still on the struggle bus? Why is I can't think of the word I'm thinking, but society pushing the agenda that there's something wrong with you if you're a single parent?
Right.
Oftentimes people choose to be single parents. And I always say it's better to be a single parent and happy and healthy and wholesome, in love with yourself, so you could show that love to your children,
Yeah.
than to stay in a situation where you're getting your butt kicked, where
Oh,
you're
yeah.
being abused and used, and then that's what you're showing your children. So our thoughts around this with mommy to be and me is that we don't want one to grow through the concrete. We want them all to grow through the concrete. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to stand with you and we're going to walk with you and put you in position, if your heart is at your yes,
Yes.
to upskill you. But you have to be at your yes. I can't force you to do anything. You have to be at a point to realize, if you're a parent, you birthed the nation. There is
Yeah.
a nation on the inside of that which you have birthed.
Right.
It is up to you to create a new storyline. So let those old paradigms, those old thought processes, let them go.
Right.
And our whole thing is, we always say we're the parent portal. We're the parent portal because every parent needs a spouse. Every parent needs a spouse. Married couples need a spouse,
Yes.
right? Oftentimes we think that we need another being because we need an extra income. Well, what if we, as the parent portal, could stand as an intercessor for you and partner with corporations within your communities that says, you know what, it doesn't matter if you could afford something. How about we have this built in where, based on the profile that you created in the beginning, we know what you can and cannot afford until you change. The whole thought process that you need to get help, and I have to give you my blood. I got to give you everything just to get some help. So oftentimes you have a large set of individuals that they don't make enough to, have a fulfilling life, and they make too much to get any type of help. So I'm like, get rid of government, get the humanity of one another to say, hey, I believe in you. I believe in your mission. I know that holistic wellness is something that each of us should have. Why should you be denied it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that it's a digital village, if you will, right? Being able to pull together resources to show people new ways of existing, new ways of being. The truth of the matter, if most people knew a way to exist differently and understood what that was, they do it.
Yeah.
You know, you can point to something and say, this is what you need to be. Okay, well, what's the roadmap to get there? What can I do realistically? Well, using technology to leverage that to help them find the right resources, not the almost right resources or, well, trying to make this work resources, but they've lived a lifetime of no's. So finding the resources that'll help them get to the yes, tremendous, right? The ability to affect change, to get locus of control over their own lives, to be the example for their own children that they didn't have for themselves, you know, multi-generational problems, to be the one that not only escapes it, but escapes it and maintains a healthy relationship with their family. Because oftentimes what happens is a person does well, but then the family pulls on them in ways that are not healthy. So how do you help them understand this is what's going to happen by the book? This isn't, you know, brain surgery. It is by the book. This is what's going to happen. These are the things you're going to experience. Here's the healthy ways to reset new boundaries, both for family members and for yourself, so that you and your children can thrive. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I agree. I agree, and I love it.
So I mean, if anybody's listening, they can see the framework of this conversation where it's heading. This is not talking about you invest this much money, you get this much money back, and your quarterly income, and you know your employee that you have today, you're going to grow that employee base or shrink it. AI is going to take the jobs. We're talking about extended level of conversation that is not necessarily covered in media or in conversations where you have to say like, hey, last week on March 3rd, we had a whole conversation about parents. Parents, you need to pay attention to AI. Understand AI for your kids' purposes. Is your kids going to have a job in the future? Will they need AI to do those jobs? Will they go to school for AI, or would they go to school where AI is just completely off the book, right? So we're going to have a whole lot of conversation. So now, as you can see, the spectrum, the way the conversation goes is a spectrum. And what we're focused on really is Chat GPT and OpenAI and Microsoft. That's what it feels like. It's like Amazon on the news over and over for something, right? But not necessarily, hey, how will this impact the kids? How does the parents deal with this, right? And when we have to have the conversation, we really have to get involved with all the people, right? Because all the people will push through a process, and that process is what's going to give birth to the future, right? So this is the power of this conversation. We don't want to just talk about businesses, because we're on LinkedIn. We can talk about jobs all day long. We can talk about business all day long, but we really have to talk about jobs from a people's perspective, business from the people's perspective. Are these people the end user? Are they the original users that's going to introduce something new to the end users? And what's the process for that? And how do we get that technology in front of the people with safety, security, and privacy, right? Because that's the world that we've been pushing ourselves towards, and we're getting there slowly, right? I mean, if you remember, privacy 20 years ago was different than privacy today, and we're redefining privacy on a daily basis as we move forward, right? So this conversation is going to go in the people's way. I think we're going to capture a whole lot of people's attention, because we are all somewhat have parents. Either we have one or we are one, whatever the case is. We have a society where we live in, and we have to look for the neighbors that is well taken care of, because we want to be well taken care of too, right? So we have lots of conversations to talk about, but the specific thread that I want to pull on here is when it comes to privacy, you cannot have privacy unless other people have their privacy. When you redefine privacy of other people, you cannot call for your own privacy without saying, well, it's my privacy. Who cares about those privacy, right? Privacy is a thing that we all have to share equally within people. And so when there's one person that steps out of line, we all can check them, right? So it's a great conversation we're gonna have, and that's why we don't want to do it in 30 minutes. We tried. I think we tried. Right? Tried, but it didn't work out in 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes may not be long enough, but I've seen, we've discussed privacy and how it's affected, and how how we're going to manage it, and large language models, and how everyone was using Chat GPT, and, what was really private, what information are you feeding into the machine? And then slowly things started to separate. Okay, we can't everyone knows we can't have this centralized model, so now we have decentralized, or now they're called small language models. And I had this conversation, and with other uh, individuals that are trying to figure out how we should lay out AI architecture, and a lot of different organizations they're going to do things different. Of course, depends on your privacy, right? You know, and so my thing is, okay, so they've figured out different ways of decentralizing large language models, and they're still big boy, Fortune 500. They're the Googles, they're the Chat GPTs. They're, at the end, they're still the big conglomerates, and I feel that you should still want to try to build something in house because of data vectors. When you train the models, what exactly are you training your models with, and how much of that is being transparent, how much of that is being handed over, and so you don't know. And so that's the thing. What you still go with the ease of designing something that's a large language model that you feel is easier to implement, but it's been designed, and you're basically taking it from a larger corporation, or do you still try to build something a little bit more grassroots that you trust, has not had any type of privacy issues, data poisoning? And there's what is the right answer? And I'm not trying to pick one way or the other, but what is the right answer for people? Do you look at obviously privacy, but is there trust also part of the equation? And I think there is, but how do you weigh that? You let me know if you guys kind of see where I'm going.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that really depends upon the market segment that you're talking about, because you got to understand, when you're talking about the big boys, their responsibility is to make money for their stockholders at all costs, right? If it's not flat out illegal, they're going to do it. But when it comes to other models that we create, we control, that support our lives, I think of it as data nutrition. We all got a recipe book, right? And you can use the stock recipe, but somebody in your family makes something better than everybody else, and they got their own secret ingredients. What's the secret ingredients for your life? What are the things financially that tie into your goals that you want artificial intelligence to help you with? What are the things, even spiritually or just relationship wise, that you want actual expert information, not just, oh, I Googled it. And we know how dangerous that can be, right? So really, to come up with a core that works for who you are, what you want to put out in the world, and what you want to grow for you and your family, right? So when you talk about different models, I think the individual model uh, is part of our future, where you got the LLMs, you got the small language model, but then you have models or that kind of sit in a space that is just customized for you, your life. What do you like to do? Your interests, your family. What ages are your kids? What are their interests? All of those things, so that then when it's going out to grab information, it's stuff that's truly relevant to you without the advertisement piece of it, right? Give me the facts. Give me stuff that has been scrutinized, stood up to rigor, and that actually works, not something that someone is selling me. So really, we get a chance to start over in a way that we didn't originally. We were born into a world where the advertising companies told us what we want, how we want it, and where to go get it. Now that we have all of this information available to us, we get to now change the narrative. So a lot of people are scared of what's going on with technology and how will it change their lives. Well, the question is, how will you change it to suit your life? And you can't do that by sitting back and relaxing. You got to go out and engage it, learn about it, and once you learn about it, tailor it to you and your family.
I want to piggyback on Bobby Ray on that. I feel like it's very important. It's necessary. So I want to cheerlead individuals within the communities that have a specific task to do, because the climate in theater right now is perfect for growth. Do not be fearful because things are crumbling, but be courageous to say, you know what, I have something within me. I'm going to be able to write something new and eliminate the biases that were in place before. And so when we look at the climate and say, okay, the opportunity is now. When you could stand in that space and know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the opportunity is now, it creates a different energy within your psyche where it just you can stay up at all hours of the night and really create something that's unique to be a solution for you and your family and your community, because each community is unique. And so if you could come together with your neighbors in an unbiased situation and create something new, it's going to be beautiful. That's what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of coming together in community, we're going to get into some technical jargon right now. And I'm glad we're going to do the technical jargon, because what we're going to do is a gap analysis of if you're listening and you're not comprehending some of the things that we're saying, you want to get familiarized with that, research on those topics, and have them familiarity, right? Kind of like a celebrity. You heard their name first time, you don't really catch on to it. But 30 times later, you're like, yeah, Jennifer Lopez, I've known her for a very long time. You know, that's my homegirl or something like that from back in the
Yeah.
day.
Jenny from the block.
Jenny from the block. That's right. I know her from the block. Yeah, exactly. So get familiar with that. Get that going, because in this AI world, we're going to talk about AI like we talk about websites, right? You know how to get to a website. AI terminologies are going to become very familiar to you. But what we have to do is really target and do a personalization for our needs. We really have to know what it is that we are responsible for in this AI, whatever that is, right? You can call it transformation, you can call it revolution, you can call it whatever you want to call it, right? But we really have to know what is our role, because based on your role, you're going to be giving away the information's data or interacting with those data, right? So you really have to know, what's my role? How does that impact me down the road? It's kind of like that social media terminology that nobody taught us 15 years ago. Be careful what you put in your social media, because it's going to live there forever, right? We really have to think through that AI conversation of like, okay, what do I put in AI, and how does that remain inside of the internet or wherever the AI lives? Right? We have to think through these topics, and this is what we're here for, right? We want to be able to say, get ahead of the curve rather than wait for the curve to happen. Because in social media curve, we've seen how disaster it has been, given that Instagrams are impacting teenagers. Instagram is creating impacts in the lives of kids in a way that we don't want our kids to go through it, because our kids are pretty young, right? We want to get ahead of the curve. So that's why we're going to get technical. But the reason we have this conversation is because of this gentleman called Andrew Ng. So you're going to get familiar with Andrew Ng, because I've known Andrew Ng's name for the last 10 years. It's like a celebrity in my book, right?
Yeah.
He's not Jenny from the block. He's Andrew from Stanford University.
Yeah.
And, he's sort of the godfather of artificial intelligence. So I'm going to play a quick introduction video from Andrew Ng, so you get to know Andrew Ng. But if you have to learn more about these topics, you can go to ChatGPT, you can go to Google. If you're a military veteran, I will highly encourage you to go to Coursera, because it's free for military veterans. And deeplearning.ai, which also has a lot of these free courses through Coursera, but Deep Learning AI kind of stands alone. But both Coursera and Deep Learning is Andrew Ng's initiative. So Andrew Ng's been part of Coursera for a long time, and Deep Learning is the latest one. So, so before we get into the technical conversation, let's play Andrew Ng's welcome video. So if I can, I think I should be able to. Somewhere here, it's there.
I see it.
You see it? All right, cool.
Hello, deep learners. I'm Andrew Ng, founder of deeplearning.ai, and I'm excited to welcome you to our global deep learning community. I know that many of you are here today because you want to break into AI and build your career. I hope that being part of this community will help you to do so. To give you a proper welcome, I'd like to show you around our deeplearning.ai offices and meet some of the teams so that you can see where it all happens.
Oh, hi, Andrew.
Do you want to tell our friends at Pine AI what you do at deeplearning.ai?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I make articles and other media that help people learn about AI and help them understand the huge impact that AI is having in the world. Today, I'm putting together the next issue of The Batch, our weekly newsletter, and I'm looking for the biggest stories of the week to keep our readers informed.
What's been the most surprising thing you've run into working on The Batch?
How much is going on in this field? There is never a dull moment. you might think from the outside that machine learning engineers really understand everything about AI, but nobody understands everything about AI because this field is just coming to life right before my eyes as I put this thing together every week.
All right, I know you're really busy, so I'll let you get back to it.
Thanks. See you later.
Let's go meet Kian, who helped me create the deep learning specialization. He's working on an exciting new project. Hey Kian, so do you want to tell the people at Pine AI what you're working on?
Yes, sure. I'm leading a project called Rockstar, focusing on helping people get offers in AI and navigating their career by testing their skills, preparing for interviews and certifying them, as well as matching and referring them to good jobs in AI.
That's really cool. And what's the most exciting part of your day?
You know, the AI field is new, organizations and jobs are still misunderstood. So I'm excited to help people understand what different types of jobs exist in the field, what tasks they will work on, and what skills are needed to achieve those tasks.
That's really important work. Well, it's nice chatting. And now let's go chat to Hotel, who is on their product team.
Hey, Andrew.
Do you want to say hi to our friends at Pine AI and let them know what you're working on?
I would love to. Hi, everyone. I lead the product team in deeplearning.ai, where we create AI education content accessible to people all around the world. People like you.
And what are you most excited about right now?
I am so excited to see our community grow and to see how eager people are to learn more about AI.
Thanks, also.
Thanks, Andrew.
So, as you can see, our team is working hard to support you and help you learn. It's never been easier than before to break into AI. So, if you want to build a career, you can leverage online resources available, including open source code, datasets, papers, and online courses like a deep learning specialization on Coursera. As part of this journey, I hope you get your hands dirty too. Don't be afraid of diving in to build your own project. Or go ahead and try to replicate a research paper that you're excited about. One thing that I've seen help a lot of people succeed is if you can build a community or find a community of fellow deep learners you can meet with and study with on a regular basis. In fact, I hope that this Pine AI meetup that you're at right now will be a good place for you to meet these people. I hope you enjoyed the event today and that you learn a lot, both from the talks and from each other. And once again, welcome to the deeplearning.ai community.